Etsy has changed again, which is entirely not a bad thing, and I'm going to be going over all of the changes that you need to know if you are selling on the Etsy platform today in this video. However, I do want to say that it is natural and normal for platforms to change. If anything, that's a good thing because they are rolling with the tides of trends, as should we. So with this all being said, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Heather. I have been a prior top 1% Etsy seller. I've been selling on Etsy for the past 5 years with my print-on-demand business. This video is for handmade sellers, digital sellers, and print-on-demand sellers. I wanted to get straight into this video and into the 5 changes you should know as we approach Q4. I think these are really important and really insightful, and I hope that you learned something new today. Besides that, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video so it gets pushed out to more sellers, and let's get straight into it. So I'm going to get out my handy dandy laptop and we're going to go over these Etsy changes together. The first one that you may have heard about is Etsy titles and how Etsy suggests to write titles going forward on the Etsy platform for every listing you create. What they have changed recently is how they are recommending and giving guidance to sellers to create titles. I am still getting sales on listings that have the way I used to write titles, which was using pretty much all 140 characters title stuffing, which I personally didn't like to do, but Etsy's guidance prior to this update and the article they released, I was under the impression that we were supposed to do that. Now with the new guidance, thank you, Etsy, for finally releasing this and saying we don't have to title stuff, because I did not like title stuffing, but I did it because it maximized, or so what I thought, it maximized my SEO. All this to say, basically title stuffing is no more. And that's something I did recommend in the past that I do not recommend in the future. I will show examples of how I would rewrite titles. However, pause. Please do not go in right now and change any of your titles until you watch the segment in full. So we'll go over the guidance together here because I think it's really good to kind of break it down real quick as well when it comes to old versus new titles. So examples, and I'm really happy Etsy provided this because I really like to see this, the before and after, but before it was all title stuffing, right? Old titles were dad t-shirt, father shirt, personalized Father's Day gift. For me personally, I always like putting a occasion. So Father's Day, that's an occasion to give maybe the gift. Basically, the old way to write titles was to write as many things that were relevant, or maybe a holiday that is relevant to the product that you're describing in order to hopefully hit for those keyword searches on Etsy, right? That would give us more visibility. That is no more. Instead, you want to use those keyword phrases in your tags. So I have an example of this in the next few pages, but the new title that Etsy recommends is personalized 100% cotton dad t-shirt. So we're describing So we're describing the material. We're describing that this is a dad t-shirt of some sort. We also have custom kids names, small to XL. Now, this is describing the sizes, which I personally, it's not something I will take unless I am offering maybe plus sizes, but I think it might be good. I don't like this example that Etsy gave, but we're going with it, okay? We're going with it. I don't think you need to put small to XL though, just a note. Also, let's talk about the colon. I'm not a fan of the colon. This is against what I used to say, okay? I'll be the first one to say it. I would rather do a spacer bar because I think that looks cuter, okay? Or like a horizontal bar. If we have shorter phrases, then I'm doing horizontal bars. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And I will share my updates on how that's working for me later on. As far as the other things, we still want very important descriptor keywords. So an example of this, and I like the old title, how they said moonstone ring, mini ring, solid gold, perfect for women's wedding engagement, daily wear band. So that is a lot of words we don't need again. Instead, this is what I like that they did. They took the old title And in the new title, there was basically one word you could use to describe this, which is celestial blue moonstone ring. A lot less wordy, and we have 9K solid golds. Again, we want material if we can. A description of the product, celestial blue moonstone. So we want to have colors, if it makes sense. And then also if you are putting in a color in your title, so this is where it kind of becomes difficult because a lot of sellers are offering multiple variants, right? We're usually offering 5 to even 10 plus colors. What I would recommend is starting to use badges on your images, such as multiple colors available on the main thumbnail mockup image. As far as getting over the old versus new, here is the new guidance that Etsy suggests to us. So first off, Etsy only wants nouns and objective descriptors. I will say when I first read this, I had to go back to the maze in my brain, the file cabinet in my brain, and like pull out that file from 3rd grade English class, or maybe like 4th grade English class. I had to like find it, and I was like, oh, objective versus subjective. Wow, it's been so long. So noun, dress, mug, table, this is product descriptors, right? This is the product itself. If you're writing for a t-shirt, make sure you put t-shirt. I personally still like to put T in the title if I have a second phrase I want to add in. Now, objective descriptors. Again, we're talking about the material, the colors, maybe the texture, let's say. Maybe it's grunge, maybe it's a worn wooden or embroidered. We want to have those objective descriptors. Now, in comparison, subjective descriptors are like beautiful, perfect, wonderful. We don't really need those words. Aspirational and gifting keywords and phrases such as gift for him, birthday present, personalized gift. Again, these types of things we don't need anymore in the title. However, we would want those in the tags usually. I would say aspirational and gifting keywords are typically what you're putting in your keywords for your tags. So you do not need on sale, you don't need free shipping on the title itself. Now you can use this again in your main thumbnail images in the badge areas or badges. You can add those little circles that say free shipping, maybe multiple colors available, customize me. You don't want to overdo it with badges. I would say 2 maximum for badges in your main thumbnail mockup images. Do you need repeats of the same word though, like gift, gift, gift in your tags after everything? No, you do not. You could put for him, her, birthday, gift, put gift once, maybe twice, call it a day. That's my recommendation to anyone watching. So old title versus new title, here is the example I have. So Corgi Mama on the left-hand side, this is how I'd used to write a title, right? So retro baseball Corgi Mama t-shirt, gift for pet lover tea, Corgi parent dog owner rescue. Now, how would I write it going forward? What I recommend is doing retro baseball Corgi Mama t-shirt. You can add in comfort colors or garment dyed because again, we're describing the material. Do you need that? I would say no, but it does help to also for just conversion. I think when a customer sees, oh, garment dyed, that sounds really nice and kind of vintage-esque. I have also put unisex tee because again, maybe this is for just a team. Maybe you're selling like Corgi Dad, Corgi Mama, matching t-shirts, tags. I would move what I had that was extra words in the old title. So pet lover gift, Corgi parent animal rescue. I'd move that all down to the tags. This is just my theory. This is my hypothetical, if you will. I don't think anything has actually changed with the algorithm. I think it's just that Etsy has always put tags as most important in just SEO, but also titles are good too, right? They describe the product, it shows relevancy for the customer, that's how they click into it. However, I feel like titles, the way the algorithm is viewing titles, is not going to change drastically. And what I mean by that is Etsy is not being like, oh, you have an old title and this product is still selling, but we're just gonna take it off and shadow ban it from the platform. This is just me being dramatic. Etsy has a new AI bulk helper tool. This is something I want everyone to be very careful with, because I have had past sellers email me and say that they accidentally did this and it changed all of their titles, and they were very upset because the titles just weren't as good and they were missing out on certain niches, and they saw a dip in their traffic because the Etsy AI tool did take out some of the very micro-niched keywords that they were using. An example is kind of going back to that ring example, which is using celestial or maybe manifestation or something like that. That's a very specific niche and different audience type that you are targeting. And instead, let's say that it changed it to abstract or something like that, which is totally different than manifestation or spirituality. I would recommend just going forward is shortening and using this new guidance. I wouldn't change all of yours. However, if you're in the bucket of people who want to change everything now, I want you to do this first. So what I recommend is downloading your CSV in your Etsy shop. So the way to do that is by going to your settings on the left-hand side after you log into your Etsy seller dashboard. You're going to click on options, then you're going to click on download data at the top, and then download CSV. So that will store all of your titles that you have written in the case that you could accidentally update all of your titles, which I have seen happen to other sellers already, but just have the CSV downloaded just in case. The next update that Etsy has came out with recently in the past few weeks is the new Etsy ad campaigns if you spend over $25 a day on ads. Now, this allows you to have more control over how your money is being spent and what your goals are. Now, Etsy already has goals if you're spending $1 to, let's say, $24 a day on Etsy ads, but it seems like they have a new system or algorithm out for their ads that, again, you have to spend $25 a day in order to have a little bit more control on what your goals are, as far as maybe you're watching your return on ad spend, or maybe you are just wanting to increase your orders. Now, what is return on ad spend for anyone who's watching? Your return on ad spend is, to say this in a literal way, it's literally how much you are getting a return on the amount of ads or your ad spend basically in your shop. Now, the best way to describe this is having your total revenue divided by your total ad spend times 100% is going to get you that number for your return on ad spend. But typically what you want to look into is your break-even return on ad spend, which is essentially your cost of goods sold, which might be production fees if you're a print-on-demand seller, or just inventory alone that you're paying per product, and all the other fees to consider, such as Etsy transaction fees. And essentially that is going to make up your break-even return on ad spend. There's a few different formulas online for this. Now, when Etsy gives you a return on ad spend in the new ad area, it does show return on ad spend. That is an average out of all of the listings that you are running. A lot of new Etsy sellers don't know that you can actually turn off the ads that may be overspending and having close to zero return on ad spend or just a low return on ad spend. But that is essentially all I will say on this. I did personally test the balance your orders with return, and I was very impressed because my return on ad spend did go up. So as far as when it comes to the updated dashboard, now you can click into return on ad spend and you can actually look at this daily, which is really neat and really cool. And this is something that I feel like we've needed on Etsy. It's just taken a while to come in, and I'm really happy that Etsy has brought this update overall. So the next update is that Etsy has tightened up their creativity standards and clarified a little bit more. We've seen this in the past, and I've mentioned this in a prior video update, but Etsy does not want anyone using just a template you buy online, slapping it on a product and kind of calling it a day and selling that as your own, right? And this rule, they have applied a little bit more strictly to anyone who's using a 3D printer, who may be using a CNC machine or Cricut cutter. So if you sell anything and you're using those types of machines, you should be using your own design, and again, not just buying a SVG, PNG on Etsy or another website and using it as your own. So the next update on Etsy is that Etsy is now focusing its marketing a little bit differently. And what I say by that is in the past, and I know a lot of us saw this for Super Bowl and the past few quarters at least, I've seen Etsy have some kind of unique, I would say, commercials on TV as of lately. And with that, Etsy is actually drawing back on their TV advertising. And now they are kind of flipping a script, if you will, in a way, to be more personalized to buyers in email. And in fact, for me, I've actually seen this happen, in which I've had emails recently that have been saying a personalized pick for you. So if anyone else is a customer on Etsy, because I'm a customer and I'm also a seller, right? When I'm a customer and in my personal email, I've got an email update saying, this is September's picks for you. Now, a lot of you may also be getting that, but that is actually Etsy's personalized AI system that is picking out shops for you. And it's not all around going to be the same email it's sending anymore. This is an entirely new shift that I've been seeing. So if a customer may have clicked into your shop last week or the month before, Etsy might send them an email and say, hey, by the way, this is a pick for you for this month, or here's a good gift idea. And that's what's really cool, is that Etsy is switching to this personalized marketing system for email. Email marketing is honestly one of the most profitable forms of marketing out there. I think it's a great switch on Etsy's behalf. So I'm really happy that they're doing that. So the next update we have seen Etsy come out with, and this isn't so much so super new, this has been around for the past few months, but Etsy has now put expiration dates on our marketing coupons that are sent to customers. So abandoned cart coupons expire within 60 days. The thank you coupons expire within a year, and the favorited item coupon expires within 60 days. Again, this is just a really nice thing that Etsy has done, because before it was pretty much unlimited for the amount of time customers could use their coupons. So this is good to be a reminder system for customers to redeem their coupons, or if they lose out on that coupon or sale. So the last update in this video I have for you all is the mandatory account verification. Etsy has once again upped their account verification system and process. So now it does require documentation, such as uploading your government ID. It did have this in the past year, but for some reason, it's kind of just been more of a mandated policy on Etsy site. On top of that, I have heard that the Etsy setup fee has increased from what used to be $25 to $29. And I have heard this fluctuates dependent on what country you live in, state, etc. So just keep that in mind if you are setting up an account with Etsy. That is it for current updates I have. If there are any updates that I missed in this video, please comment it down below, because I might make a part 2. Outside of that, if you like this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe for more updates and content like this, and I will see you all in my next videos here.